Hey everyone, welcome back. We're looking at Lazarus version 4 today. We're just going to be looking at a couple of small parts, mainly to do with the IDE, and it's been announced on the Lazarus forums here that version 4 is now out, and there are a few links to the release notes, user changes, etc. So what we're going to have a look at here, we're going to just go into the release notes, and while it says that it hasn't been released and it's under construction, well, it may be under construction still, but it has been released. And let's get started, shall we? So we'll just minimize that window there and go into programming. So here you can see it's version 4. We're not looking at any release candidate here. And yes, I have it added in the Lazarus minimap, which is now part of version 4, and we can show you how you can get that in if you want to use that. The other thing also that I have done is to change the colors in the property inspector here on the left hand side. So because I'm using a dark theme here, well, on Lazarus it picks up the theme from the environment. So if I were to go back to the default colors here and show you they are now in maroon, which for me is hard to read. So in order to change those, we need to go into the options, and to get into the options, what we do is right mouse click in options here, and we are now looking at the object inspector, and I want to change the value, and we will make that now yellow, and then the other one is reference. I'll make that yellow as well. Click on the OK button, and now I can see what I'm looking at. Looks like a empty unit has opened up here in my environment. So what we're going to basically do is create a new little project. But and also in version 4, what you're looking at here is the docked layout here. So everything is part of the one window, as opposed to being in separate windows like you would have in earlier versions, unless you're using some sort of docking package. So we've got the menu and the toolbar up the top here. We've got the object inspector here, and then the properties. We've got our, I'm going to call it our editor space here, where we've got the code, our minimap, and then down the bottom here, various informational windows for like messages, watches, assembler, and breakpoints. And then on the right hand side here, we do have our code explorer and components, so that when we are in looking at the form, we can put components onto the form and modify their properties. And similarly, we can do stuff with code as well. We've seen the program loading. You can see that it loads fast. And so what we're going to do now is to just create a new project here. So we go File, and then New, and in my case, by default here, it's showing me an application is the default, is the one that is currently selected, and then it's a graphical free Pascal application using the cross-platform LCL. So we're going to click OK, because that's what we want to do here. And if we are in the form, or if we are looking at the unit or the source code for the form, then in order to toggle between the form and the code, we use the F12 key. So just hit it once, you'll go to the form, and hit it again, you'll go to the code. Also note that when we do create a new project, you're going to be getting some files are being created behind the scenes. So the form lives in a file with a .lfm extension. The code is in a .pas file, and then you've also got an LPI and LPR, which has project information in them. So what we're going to do now is to just save all of this, and we'll probably create a new folder for this project here. And what will we call this project? It'll be another Hello World program, hey? Hello World, and then you main. Okay, so we've just saved the project, and we've now saved this form here. So if you were to go into the Explorer here, or the we can now go into, if I can find where my projects are, here we go, and FPC and V4 test. So basically we get an icon file, the LPI and the LPR files, as I said before, a resource file, and the main form itself, which consists of the form plus the code there. In another video we'll go into more detail about what all these files are. Why don't we now put something onto this form here? So we look at our components here, and what we're going to do is to put a button, and we may as well just drop it there for the moment. We'll put an edit on so we can type something into there, and let's just put out a label as well. So now when you are looking at the if you are using the mouse or whatever to control the placement of controls, then what you can see here is that when controls are aligned, let's say on the top or on the left, then it will, a little blue line will appear there to let you know that they're together. So we'll now stretch that one out a bit wide. We'll try and stretch that one out a bit wider, and let's do that. And we're now going to move this button up to here again, and you can see now these are all left aligned. You could also do it in the properties by making sure the left of each control is the same. So there is nothing stopping you from, just typing in the value into the value and against the property there. So that's what we're going to basically do in our form here. And now we want to put some code. Well, actually, let's change the caption here. Enter your name. And I'm going to put my own name in here so I don't have to type it out every time I run it. And now we will, hello. That's going to be our caption here. Now we may as well give our form now a proper name. So again, we're looking at the caption. Hello world there. And just as a, going off on a slight tangent, if you want it to be a dialogue, you can change the border style. Again, you can change the height or the width here, and so on. And then in the next tab here, you do have your event handlers, and something like for a button, the one that you'll typically use would be an on-click event handler. So let's go to the button, and we can now go to here, and we're going to put some code into the button event handler. And what we're going to do here is to say so it'll basically take my name and say hello Tim from Lazarus 4.0. So we may as well put a comma there. Okay. So this is just a basic event so that when you click on the button, it will print or show that message in a window. We could use a task dialog, but that can be something we can do in a later video. So now when we want to run or build the program, we can go into the run menu and then select build, and in the bottom in the messages section you can see what's happening, and I currently have verbose options selected, so it gives a lot more information than what you otherwise might see. Now the fact that I've got a green line up here, and I probably can't read what's underneath it, but it built successfully. So now we want to run the program, so we can either use this little green arrow with the red dot on the bottom right, which is run without debugging, or we can run it with debugging here, when you can use the F9 key there. Now one thing which I will point out here is that, and I don't know if this was here before version 4, and someone who's smarter than me can tell me in the comments below perhaps, but as I move up and down the code, I can see into the left of the let's call this a gutter for lack of a better word here. I can see the line number keeps moving with the cursor, which I think is quite handy. There's nothing worse than, for me at least, having to jump down to look down here, which is a bit harder to see. So that's one of the other nice things here that I'm looking at in the editor. Of course, they've got code folding here as well. So we've now got it all hidden, and we can now bring it out again. Also, you can see in the mini map here, that the where I am in the code, it gets reflected in the mini map, and if I do click in the mini map somewhere, then the cursor will move to the appropriate location within the editor as well. So we're going to have a look at the, before we actually run the program, I'm just going to talk a little about this mini map here while we are talking about code. So if we go into tools and options, and then we look under the editor and then mini map, so editor here, then mini map, you can see here that at the moment the color is purple, probably not the default color. So I'm going to change it to gray because that would fit more with the dark style. And the other thing to note here is that there is an initial font size. Now that is the size of the font when Lazarus starts and thereafter. So if I change the size now, that does not get reflected in the minimap until I restart the program. It would be nice if it could do it on the fly, but I'm not exactly crying over that. So we'll click the OK button, and you can see now that the color has changed from that purple to grey. Perhaps the other thing you'll notice here also is that the colors which I'm using in the editor are a bit different to normal. And again, if you wanted to change those settings, you can always be in the code window, go to the options menu again, and go down into the display and colors and change these to how you want. Now, I don't know whether Uncle Bob was being serious, but I've made my comments in red as well, and made some other changes here to make it more easily readable for myself. The other now, if you do want to use the mini map and it is not, you can't find it anywhere, what you want to have a look at is go into the package menu, and under the uninstall packages, in this window here, you can see packages that have been installed, and on the right side, ones that are available to be installed. So because I've already installed it, it's not going to be over here, but what you're looking for is the Laz Minimap 1.0. And, so just to show you what you would otherwise do, You can pick on the package that you want to install and just pretend that was the minimap. You could then select the install installation, and then this button here to rebuild the IDE would come up, and it will then restart automatically, and you'll then have the minimap visible. Obviously, if you don't want the minimap, as part of Lazarus at all, you can always uninstall it and rebuild the IDE that way. So, plenty of options, to cater for every type of user here, I will say. Now, what we may as well do now is to run this program, and I'm going to run it without any debugging, and it appears over there. And now it just asks me to enter my name, so I've typed in my name, and now we hit the OK button, and it'll say, "Hello Tim from Lazarus 4.0. Yes, our program ran fine. Basically, you can do you can also run it from here as well. And you've got your build option there, and yeah, that's about it for that part of it. Just if we look at the form again, and on the left hand side here at the moment, I've got the button is the currently selected item, and you can also click on the components up in the top part here, and down the bottom here, these all change depending on what is the selected component in the form. Also, when you are looking at whatever the selected component is, that becomes selected within the form itself as well. Now, hitting F12 again, the next little trick here is, which came in version 4, I believe, and I'm going to have to go look at what the page says here. Code templates, I think it was here. Yeah, code templates and the Control J. The file containing the templates has been renamed to code templates. That's just more of an internal thing. And the autocomplete class was changed to support the ordering of templates properly. So when we do press Control J, and we'll do that right now, here we'll go basically you can get, it's a way of being able to autocomplete code for something. So if I wanted to, let's have a for statement here, and I can do I here, then basically it gives me the, it gives me the code here that I can just add to. Can't say that I'm a big user of such tools, but again, if that's something that you do like and it does allow, it can make you more efficient, then go for it and use it. So there was used to be a close all option in the IDE. That has been removed because it caused some confusion with users. I think that's about it for this particular video here. It's more to do with the IDE rather than programming as such. But we've created a basic GUI app. You've seen the docked appearance and learned some productivity tips perhaps. And don't forget, as always, to save your project. You don't want to lose your work. And look at some other components that are part of Lazarus, or 3 or 4 really, because you've got things like the BRGA controls, you've got mapping components, so many different things to help you in your development. So if this has helped, like the video, subscribe for more Pascal content, including more tutorials, projects, and so on. And until next time, I will see you next time, and happy coding. Bye.